Hey guys, welcome to TechCrunch Fly or Die. I'm Jordan Crook.
I'm Matt Burns.
And it's iPhone 5 day. Woohoo!
It's very exciting.
Yeah, we were at the launch.
We were.
We
6 o'clock
live-streamed
this
it.
morning.
It was great.
There was hundreds of people there.
So we have an iPhone 5 here and we have an iPhone 4S, so we can compare the two. Let's just go over some of the new specs. We've got a 4-inch display, slightly better resolution, same PPI. We've got an upgraded processor,
Sure.
so it's twice as fast,
There's
LTE,
right?
which is doubles the speed as well. We've got iOS 6, obviously, which is great.
For the most part.
For the most part, yeah, we can talk about that a little bit. And we've got, the camera is actually basically the same. They use a sapphire lens, but they've basically just tightened it up so it can fit in this smaller chassis. And we've got a new design, obviously. So we've got the back panel is a little bit different, obviously.
There's a new dock connector.
There's a new dock connector, lightning port, which is nice.
But overall, it looks very similar to the iPhone 4, which isn't a bad thing, in my opinion.
No, I don't think that Apple has to drastically redesign things. I think this is just enough of a change to be attractive. I think that I hate to say this because I know that it frustrates people. People think that Apple is better based on its merit. I don't think that's necessarily the case all the time. I think sometimes it does come down to a beautiful design, and when they can make a change like this, it's a status thing.
Sure.
I have the latest and greatest, and you know it because the back is different because it's
Yeah,
taller.
of course.
So that's all exciting.
Now, how many iPhones have you owned?
I pre-ordered the iPhone 5. I don't have it yet, so that'll be my 4th. I've had every one since the 3GS.
I've never had an iPhone. This will be my first iPhone. I've been doing Android for the last 2.5, 3 years, and before that was BlackBerry. But I'm ready to jump into the iOS ecosystem. And I'm worried about the maps, because Android maps are awesome.
Yeah.
I really like micro USB on Android. But I like AirPlay a whole lot. My wife has an iPhone, I have an iPad, so I'm ready to get that.
So truth be told, this isn't actually about the new iPhone. This is about you just wanting to jump ship over to Apple.
Yeah, that's what this whole thing is right here. That's why we orchestrated everything. Rented the studio space, and I'm announcing this.
Okay, that's fair enough. I think that for me, as an iPhone owner, what I'm most excited about is the new design. I appreciate kind of the fact that it's slimmer. I'm not exactly a fan of how much lighter it is, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
When a phone gets lighter, something that's great about the iPhone, it might be heavier than most of the Android phones out there, but you know it when you feel it that it's a more expensive device.
Well, it's
made
heavier,
of glass.
but it feels more solid.
Exactly. It feels like a computing device as opposed to a piece of plastic.
Sure.
And this is starting to range into that territory a little bit
It's
as far as being light.
It's the metal back is what does it. It feels different in the hand.
It does, and it's not super printy. With this phone, you can get prints all over it really quickly if you don't have it in a case. This isn't doing the same thing, but this is apparently scratching very easily, which is a major problem in my book.
I mean, if you talk about the iPhone, you're not entirely excited about it.
I'm not, to be honest with you.
But you're still going to get it.
I'm still going to get it. Yeah, well, I blame it partially on the fact that I write for TechCrunch, and I feel like I need the next iPhone.
Sure.
But to be honest with you, I'd probably beg for a new one anyway, for my dad. Thanks, Dad. So this is my Christmas present. But I have to say, yeah, iOS 6 is probably what I'm most excited about. And oddly enough, what I'm most excited about in iOS 6 is the fact that you can actually do the text after the call or remind me to call back. Those are useful features, and it just goes back to Apple being really simple and smart.
I mean, those features have been around forever. I remember my Motorola V600. It's an old flip phone. It was before the Razr had those features.
You loved that phone.
I did actually like that phone. There's a big long story about that. But before the Razr, I mean, that was the original, so that's 6, 7 years ago,
right,
had those features. And they're finally coming to iOS, and Android's had that as well. So there is a whole lot of kind of letdown here. But it isn't the new device. It is going to sell. There's going to be millions of them sold. It'll be the best-selling iPhone yet. Oh, yeah. And then the iPhone 6 will outsell it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it, and MG puts it really well in his review, and he puts it really well in the post he wrote before that with Apple's event. It all comes down to the fact that Apple knows it can't change too much, but it has to continually change. It has to continually upgrade. And I think that we will see a big change in speed, and I think that will really please a lot of people because it's been said a million times before, but you don't know the power of LTE until you actually see it in play.
Sure.
And the second you do, it's like, wow, I've been just like trudging through the world before this. And I think that will really please a lot of people who maybe are just, because when we interviewed people in line, we asked, what are you most excited about? And they were like, what do you mean? It's the new iPhone. Like,
right, exactly.
like
Sure.
that's their only answer. But when they actually use it, I think they'll enjoy that.
And so just recently, LTE phones were very large, they're very hot. And then the Samsung Galaxy S came out, and the new Razrs came out. And the new phones that are LTE capable are thin, and they're light, and they're normal. Last year, they were very heavy. So you get the fast speeds of LTE with a modern design finally, which is great. And it's not exclusive to the iPhone, but that is the best feeling phone yet.
And it'll be interesting also to see how people react to battery testing. We haven't been able to do a battery test. MG did, and he seemed pleased, but he's always pleased.
Well, sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how battery stuff does, because iOS 6 is kind of a battery kill. LTE is a battery kill.
It is.
And they only upgraded the battery by 10 milliamps per hour.
I would imagine FaceTime and 3G is also a battery killer.
Exactly. So there's a lot to swallow here. Obviously, I'm going to go with a fly, because
it
is the new iPhone. There were people. No one waits in a line for products anymore. Maybe you wait in line for concert tickets, something like that. But I mean, what product can you think of where you have hundreds of people waiting in line at 4 in the morning?
Right, thousands. I mean, it was surrounded by news vans. New York PD were out there in force. They were giving away free donuts. I got a whole box of donuts, actually.
And brands are using it as a chance to capitalize, which just goes to show how much power Apple actually has over consumer minds. So I'm going to give it a fly, definitely.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is an easy fly. I will get one. It'll be my first iPhone. I'm pretty excited about it. That said, I'm not too excited about the maps. I'm kind of nervous about that. So we'll see what happens.
I would say if you're a fan of Apple products in any way, but you maybe don't have an iPhone, which is strange. Most people go with iPhone first, and then they slowly trickle over to other things. But if you happen to have a Mac, or you have an iPad, and you're still stuck in Android land or wherever else you might be, you'll start to realize that Apple's moving towards this merging of all of their products into the same iOS feel. Everything's coming together. Messaging, with iCloud, all of that stuff is kind of finding a uniform, and it really does make your life easier. So that's the biggest selling point, I think, for any iPhone or any Apple product, really. So yeah, fly.
There you have it.
2 flies. Thanks for watching.